Instagram Live going. There's always a delay too.
Yeah.
Are we live? Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
So yeah, now I can finally go live.
I'll be your dream, I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I love you more with every breath, truly, madly, deeply do. I will be strong, I will be faithful, cause I'm counting on a new beginning. A reason for living, a deeper meaning.
With you on a mountain. Come on, Dylan.
Like, this is what we needed outside the college hockey games right here.
Even the old guys into it. All right.
And I'll go to the last minute.
Just for our faithful 8 or 9 people who just joined us randomly. This is Dylan Lane. I'm Mark Elkenberg. College Soccer Match Day. Our first final episode where the season begins and the games actually matter. A little background on the weird just intro there. You know, Dylan and I, we've discussed, we've done 5 episodes leading up to now. It takes it's like a corporate meeting, like on my side. You know, the first 2 minutes or 3 minutes of a meeting, you're still bringing people in. So
you know, we gotta ease into it.
Yeah, so we can't just like jump straight in. And a little backstory, we were just like, this is typical Mark and Dylan offline conversation where we're like, I was just saying, I don't really know too many people who talk about, because obviously, you know, MLS crowds versus English and European crowds, there's still a big contrast. And I was like, you know, I haven't heard too many people say the opinion that part of the MLS, like, not having the same vibe is, you know, when you're in England and Europe, a lot of the supporter section, like, look across the whole group, it's probably like 20 to 60-year-old all dudes. Not saying like, you know, that like the diverse in terms of the gender style in MLS is bad, because there's obviously plenty of things I like about MLS environments rather than European. But it is just like, you can take a Savage Garden song and make it sound like pretty boisterous and bold because of like how deep the voices are and as a collective. But anyway, that's just a little bit of the stupid backstory on that.
Remember that video of that like Seattle Sounders fan with a microphone was like, fight and win.
Yeah, because honestly, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I've been to plenty of MLS environments, and like, I do love that it's so family oriented and everyone's so pleasant, and you can really enjoy the game, because usually I'm a neutral, and you're not worried about like hooliganism or anything like that. So there's tons of benefits to the Americanized version of soccer. But yeah, it's just,
when I was in England, we went to a Tottenham game, and like our strength coach wore an AC Milan jersey because it was the Champions League and it was the second leg. And we went to like our section, and like within 5 minutes, like these 3 or 4 old guys were like, take that off now, or like you're gonna get jumped. So yeah, that doesn't happen a lot in the MLS, but it just shows like,
I mean, it's starting to a little bit with like some of the, you know, SoCal rivalries and stuff, which, I mean, if you know what you're getting into, I'm not trying to police the world, but like, yeah, I don't know. And obviously some super fans across the league have their opinions. So I'm sure you hear things similar to like my first game as a teenager and at Craven College.
Yeah.
Where like the big time supporters are up top being like, Nicky Volt's shite, mate.
They just like it literally makes or breaks their day.
Yeah.
It's like how college football is here. It's like some
Yeah.
kind of bad day because the college football team loses. Like that's not like it for the MLS, but in the Premier League, it's like, it's just funny to see how they act. But like you can't blame them.
Yeah. Well, for college soccer Division 1 match day 1, let's go through. I'll put the ticker at the bottom here for some of the headlines. We're going to start with these. So, as this moves through, we'll kind of touch on each of the games. Man, I meant to count how many games there were, but we'll see at the end for all the games that we didn't like.
To watch them all.
Yeah, I have a graphic at the very end that just kind of rolls through the results of the games that we aren't going to talk about, and like I didn't even put a few of them in there because it's just the list is so long. It was an overwhelming Thursday, but I started my day off with Boston University versus New Hampshire, 1-0 win for Boston. And I think the main things that kind of stood out for me were, how it's kind of funny. You're a midfielder. I feel like my best position back in the day, or the one that I appreciate the most, is the deep lying playmaker role. So obviously I had to hone in on Diego Rived, again, a guy who played for Vermont Green over the summer. And some things that I like usually do with certain guys, just to see, or mainly to compare the top level of some of these more deep lying playmaker types. But I wanted to bring in just a sample of Diego Rived's first game of the 2025 campaign, because if there are any young midfielders out there or parents of players that want to study some of the best at this level, there's a reason why he was Patriot League Midfielder of the Year. Came into this year as preseason Midfielder of the Year. But I'll bring it up. Just overall, like, good awareness, keeps the ball glued to his feet. This is a little good combo here in traffic. 4v2, sneaks his way out of it with a couple 1-2 passing. Good line passing here on the flank, up and ahead. He's done that. He did this a couple times, or at least a few times during this game. A little spin move, splits the midfield 2, wins a foul. Mindfulness here, safety, drop it back. He's even directing traffic in there. And again, up the line, wins the ball here. And again, splitting the 2 midfielders there was like such a thread the needle pass. I thought that was really impressive. But good body positioning here, knows where the defender is, shields off, maintains the ball, and a little simple, mindful breakout here from inside the box. So, I mean, I guess that is a little bit of an example of the things that Dylan and I are looking at in terms of like players. It's, how you're moving your body in terms of like where the defender is, because, if they come into the back of you or they try to go through you, it's a foul. So, it's not always the glamour of the tricks and everything. Like, it's just body positioning and then precision passing for sure.
Yeah, like all those clips, it's just the simple pass and it's just consistent. And for that, like that could be a whole 2 or 3 games of highlights, and that's within the first half. So it kind of shows,
because he only played 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And of those 60 minutes, he made 30 pass attempts and completed 26 of them on my marks.
And like it's common for a lot of the guys not to play like full 90s at the beginning of the season, because a lot of these games are out of conference too. Like they do want to win, but the coaches do realize that it's been a packed preseason. A lot of them are coming from the summer, and it's the time to give, like, whether it's freshmen or older players, a chance for like 15, 20 minutes at the end of the of each half. So
Yeah.
like that's a solid game overall. Like I know you did the graph that we posted, but it was a solid performance.
Yeah. And I got overzealous there because I just jumped right into Boston. But we did skip over some of like the general, like from the coaching perspective. Obviously, you were an assistant coach in the D1 level, but for the viewers, like, no one's hitting the panic button week one. But like, what are some of the questions maybe that, or the perspective of, week one?
Yeah, I mean, like week one, hopefully a lot of the questions were answered during the preseason games. Like that's why they have them. But then again, injuries do happen because of the load that these players are like getting put through. 2-a-days are a lot on the body, especially if you do it multiple times a week. So I think week one, the biggest thing is like momentum. Like you want to start strong, but then again, you look at Wake last year with how they started, like you don't hit the panic button, And I think it's just answering more questions of like seeing, okay, if the pressure's on now, because this game goes to the record, goes to the RPI, who can we count on? Who are the 14, 15 guys that we can consistently be like, hey, you're going to come in for 10, 15 minutes, or you might start this game, But I do think players who get knocks or aren't 100% are more common than people think. We probably know a number of players who are playing at 80% or 70% already, just with knocks they're carrying over through the summer and during preseason. Because even though it's in a squad, it does get competitive because people want to compete for the spot. But a lot of the first 2-3 games are trial and error in a way. Very rarely do we see the same starting 11 from the first game of the season to the last conference tournament game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's for coaches to reward players who had good springs and good preseasons at the end of the day. Like we've seen it that a lot of players got rewarded who didn't really get a lot of minutes last year, but that just shows how they're doing something behind the scenes that we don't see,
Yeah. And I think that's something that we talked about earlier this morning is like, some teams out of like the big bunch that we kind of at least tuned into a little bit, just, sometimes you wish you were a fly on the wall of some of the preseasons, because I don't know if it's like some of the week one looked a little sluggish on some teams. I don't know if it's like the after effects of a tough preseason or a preseason that maybe was a little bit underdeveloped in terms of like the intensity and maybe even coming into the season, like how good shape of some of these players were. But
like some of these colleges probably have the technology for that, like in regards to loading, the GPS monitors and all that. But coaches, like to your point, it's intriguing to see how they do plan it. Whether it's just like let's just do 2-a-days or 3-4 days without any thinking, or the workload on top of classes starting. So there's a lot that goes into it. So it's interesting to see how much thought coaches do put in, because they're like, okay, we can work these guys to the ground the first week, but how is that going to affect the second game of the season if it's a midday game or the first game of the season, right? So it will be cool to see how different teams do it from different levels of, okay, like we're going to kill them for 3 days, take 2 days off, kill them for 2 more days. Or I know some teams that just do a steady training with not a lot of fitness involved, but they just train every single day for a week and a half, and come game day, they're really fresh and sharp.
Yeah. And there's no proven science to what is successful and what's not. Like, I feel like, you want to be as fit as you can be in terms of like full stamina and sprint stamina. But like sometimes it's just even the 4-a-sides, 4v4 plus 1 and things like that. Like
that's where they get fitness.
Yeah, like just that constant touches, constant movement, like that 5-minute stretch if you're doing like a little tournament, in like the 4v4 setup, like even that can burn your legs more. You think you're in shape, and then when you really you got to be moving all the time in a small area. Yeah, it's just I think we'll find out soon because like I guess the way I kind of see it too, especially after seeing last season, the early non-conference games where it's like 2 games a week, you almost can't make much of it because we saw some teams that were wildly successful in those early stages that the whole second half of the season they barely even won a game. And then we saw teams like Wake, that's like the big example, kind of sputtered through that early stage and then, hit the ground in the middle of the season and just went flying towards an ACC championship. So, I think that's a big thing for the coaches is figuring out the recipe that works for them and their culture. But yeah, I mean, just kind of wrapping it back into the final thoughts on the Boston New Hampshire game is Boston heads to, I believe it's away to Vermont. So that'll be another one. I mean, New Hampshire was obviously going to be a difficult team. So to come out with a win there was a strong performance, even if it wasn't like the most flashy end-to-end game early. The goal came from just like kind of a tap in by Bonington, but a lot of the work was done by Austin Mowbray, who, was sent long, did a lot of work to hold off the defender, ended up striking, hitting the post, popped right out to Bonington, tap in. And that's all, like, sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, there's going to be plenty of examples throughout this episode of guys that are putting themselves in a position to score. And it doesn't have to be, flashy or anything like that, but you have to get there because it was one of those transitions, but kind of the characteristic thing of at least a handful of these goals that we saw. And I think we both watched the West Virginia game at least a little bit, right?
Yeah, I watched some of the first half.
Yeah, so I have all the goals from that game. We'll tee it up here. I mean, Pablo Pozo's debut hat trick.
That's in the first half especially too. It's impressive.
Yeah, good box awareness there. I think you can tell that I think he really likes working with Marcus Galdiera.
Yeah.
And, rightfully so. But yeah, not even the tallest guy, but just good box awareness.
This was a good free kick, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, so West Virginia up 2. Manhattan looked like they had a lifeline. Martin Rodriguez, beautiful free kick. Then
West Virginia
what a
did a
ball
good
here by Trujillo.
Yeah, West Virginia
Shear.
did a good job like creating overloads out wide. Like Shear would kind of drift, and then it would be like a quick 1-2 with the wingback or winger, and like then just a quick early ball. When you have Marcus and Pablo in the box, it's a good chance.
Yeah, that like side to side, getting on the edge of the attacking third, decisive ball through the line, get it across. The defenders are adjusting to the play, and that's where that attacking group is just kind of like picking their space. And obviously the guys on the flanks were solid in finding, who they're going to. But I think I paused it here because I believe this is it. Hold on. I might have these out of order. Yeah, I might have had these out of order. But I do, yeah, because wasn't it Deckel Dex with?
I think it might be this one coming up.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to show right here. So the ball comes forward from, maybe I'll even like scoot it back a tad. All right, so the start of this play on the edge of their defensive third, ball wide, up to the right wing. There's 2 guys versus 3 on the back. But on the right side of your screen, you're already seeing the movement, even within their own half. And this is what, like, my brother always says all the time. Act like you effing want to score. And to the Mountaineers' credit, there's 3 guys sprinting up the field because they damn want to score. So I'll pause it here. But like 1, 2, 3, all those guys. Now it's a 3v6 if you count the left back out here, or depending on who that is. I think that might be Isaac Shear. But man, 3 guys in that gap, and it just pops up to Ethan. Well, no, little touch over, but you have options there. It's like that. I thought was what a lot of teams I think can get their guys motivated to be like, if you're a late arriver, like get up there. As long as you make it to the edge of the 18 before the midfield marks track you down. And again, there's some other examples that we'll see throughout the match day where guys capitalize on that type of stuff. But it's like if you want to score goals, you got to make that half field sprint and get up there because.
And I know like we don't like saying obvious soccer statements, but it's like, who really wants it? Like right there, you saw 3 West Virginia players, and I know it's easy to be like, oh, they wanted it more, but like if you see that space, especially we've talked about like the lack of awareness that a lot of midfielders have in regards to backtracking and seeing late runners. If you have a good wing player, outside back, or whoever it may be, who can service well, the likelihood if you make that run 10 times, you might get that ball 5 times, and from there you just have to take a chance, you know?
Yeah, and in that scenario, it's like there's so many different things that could happen that any one of those 3 guys could have been scoring. The initial receiver of the ball, if he has the window and wants to shoot, go for it. Lays it off, perfect window, goal. Let's say that the guy that Ethan took the shot, great save. Maybe the keeper isn't even holding on to it from there. Ball spills out, next guy down the line, tap in. So it's like there's so many boxes that are checked in that it was inevitable when that movement was going forward that it's just going to be
they had 3 choices.
Yeah, exactly. So another one end to end, I think in like 2 passes here. Good ball. Just wide open, makes no mistake. Kind of a consolation.
That's a typical college soccer goal, though.
Yeah, but he'll take that confidence into the rest of the season for sure.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much had everything in terms of the notes on that West Virginia game. Next up, one of the upsets, I think we can kind of preface this with like, I know we had points upon
it wasn't an upset.
Preseason standings. Like I get it. I'm not opposed to coming into the season with rankings. A lot of it again is based on what happened last year, but we're not proposing changes, but like early in the season, does it really matter? But anyway, I mean, obviously Georgetown's an amazing program in itself, but going into that game, I don't think too many of the guys that were like real deal college soccer were thinking like, oh, Georgetown's gonna wipe the floor with this High Point team. Like,
especially it's at High Point on turf. Like it's a good crowd. Like it had everything written for a loss. You know what I mean? Like it's a tough one. Like, long bus ride. It's tough.
Yeah, and like Georgetown, to be fair too, they're still going to be trying to figure out like the Joe Buck and Plain Maybe type of replacements. So, I mean, but hats off to High Point. I think like, they performed very well last year, missed out on the NCAA tournament by like kind of a fraction of the opinion, but they were looking to improve, and I think they've done that with bringing in Daniel Lugo.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'll let you talk to it because I believe
no, yeah,
you
I
mainly watch
watched
this
it.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it. Daniel looked solid. I mean, he banged in 2 goals. First one was a great header. Second one was a great, like, one-time finish. I mean, one thing about High Point that is always going to be High Point is the relentless pressure. It's basically a 4-2-4 with the ball and without in a way with how they press. And I think that caused Georgetown some problems, especially the first 15. If you're at home, first game of the season, you want to kind of really go like for them. I think with that being said, once they conceded the first goal, Georgetown did have a good amount of possession, and High Point respected that. I think Mitchell Baker, he caused some problems just because of his size. I mean, he's 6'5",
yeah,
so he drew a lot of players around. Georgetown hit the post once or twice, and they easily could have equalized. But that being said, High Point was still very dangerous with the quick combination play. And I think, you know, second half, same kind of story. Like it wasn't anything too tactical about the game in regards to movement and players. It was just like a good soccer game that was back and forth. And Zach Zangy, he was playing more left wing on the touchline. I know we talked about that where we think he's best off the 9, basically as a second striker and a 10 to float. And Eric Howard was playing kind of inverted to make a back 3, and then Zangy would hold the touchline basically as like a left wing back. And I think he couldn't influence the game as much out there. And I feel like when he was kind of had the freedom to drift in and get on the ball, Georgetown clicked a little bit more. So I think if he can move inside and kind of just be that 10 role right behind Mitchell, Georgetown could have more success. But overall, like just High Point's pressure is the biggest thing for me. I mean, it's not like Route 1 football with the way they play. They do have good combination plays at times, but they're more than happy to go in behind with the wingers who are pacey, and then from there just win second balls and put the pressure on.
yeah, yeah. No, like I think we even said before the season, like I don't know if it was like in the post that you wrote about Brendan Kruger, but it's just like, I mean, with the type of defending talent and depth that they have, I think going into the season, especially in conference play, I don't think they're giving up very much. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just a matter of time before they score. And
because they
know,
have that defensive, like basically core who and the all athletic, they're allowed to be more stretched because they back the defensive backs and center backs and the ability. It's not like the being stretched and they don't trust the back four. They'll be like, oh no, if it's a 1v1, 2v2, they're gonna get burned. Like they know they're not gonna get burnt, so they're able to get stretched. And we talked about it. Some teams play better when they are stretched, when it's just back and forth.
yeah,
So I
I
think
think
that's
again
yeah.
we'll have plenty of examples of that.
No, but I think it was a solid game. I think Georgetown plays Maryland now, so that would be a big one because it's not panics, but you don't want to be 0-2 after the first 2 games. And I think Daniel Lugo, like that's a perfect fit for him coming from UNC. I think he just needs service, and High Point, the wingers give him service, and I think the relentless attack gives him like it's just chance after chance, and it's all about momentum. He gets a couple goals, he's going to keep it up, and like I said, it's going to be like a long day for whoever plays High Point at High Point, especially on the turf field, and like that's just a tough place to play.
Yeah, Sim City.
Yeah,
And they get for first game, got a good crowd there.
no, yeah, they always got a good crowd.
I'm super happy for Lugo. Obviously, we got a long way to go with the season, but yeah, it was just like one of those guys that it's just like I just want to see him on the field,
especially as a transfer. Like
yeah, getting the opportunity and
if you're a transfer and you're a 9, like the one thing all the teammates expect you to do is just score goals.
Yeah,
so it can be mentally draining if you don't score. You have a rough couple games or practices, and everyone loves you when you score. Everyone doesn't like you when you don't score. So like for him to like kind of get that
yeah, even in exhibition
mentally,
he
like
was
he probably
scoring.
feels
So yeah, carrying through. I'm glad, and I think they kind of needed that coming out of last season too. Is that like potent 9?
Yeah.
But yeah,
He smacked that ball for the second goal.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it was.
I think it's a good place to put this, but yeah, if you're wondering why don't you have the goals? Well, ESPN Plus shut down the whole screen clipping.
That's
So
wild for them. I don't know why
yeah,
they.
so good little segue because despite being an ACC top contender, Clemson traveled to Indiana, and shout out to Big Ten Plus. They don't restrict screen grabbing. So we actually have. I posted a lot of it, the first half, then second half, but I combine them. We can kind of like talk through chronologically here, but Collins Odoro, if you didn't know him, he was lively.
That's a
I know
pacey
we're going to
player
be
right
using,
there.
yeah, exactly. He definitely fits why or what Orlando look at. Here's another one, bounces off, cuts in, sneaky, and that's obviously it's a tough team to play against. Palmer almost starts us off here, wrong side of the post. Unfortunate. And then this is Richmond. These like little slick maneuvers with like the 1-2s with Duquesne, but Yoshizawa from distance quite a few times this match looked dangerous. I'll actually pause it here because I want to. Oh, hold on. Actually hit the wrong button, but for all the fans out there who don't know, Jabal and Michelle, 6'5", like 215 pounds. So a lot of these balls, or a lot of the Clemson strikes, go right at him. I mean, but he's a big boy, so
He like covers half the goal already. So
yeah.
but for
I mean,
that
having
size,
that type
still
of
moves quick.
asset. But again, Vermont Green.
Yeah. The pipeline.
Here's Adoro again, showing some strength, popping into space. Lofted ball to Bendo. Yeah, that slide pass was very nice. And Dama up to it. Ransford to Yoshizawa. I believe this is another one of Yoshizawa's strikes. Again, into the breadbasket. It's like, it'll be interesting. He's dialing it in. I think Yoshizawa is going to be effective and relied upon because they'll need it in that narrow three. But I will say that Musa, right at the death, he scored a goal after committing a foul. So it was like rolled off. But throughout the match, and again, all right, well, we gotta rewind.
You gotta rewind that one
because we were debating this on like, should we put the top 10 goals into one clip, and like half of them were already kind of in like match reviews. So Richmond's this goal from like the top of the arc.
His little scissor before is super nice too, to kind of freeze the defender to get that separation.
Yeah, solid 2-footed player. Yeah. That's a left-footed strike.
But it's easy for players to panic right away and like just like blast it.
I had that as a single clip, but on Twitter. But Richmond's so good at threading the needle, especially with like him and his relationship with Ransford was really effective when Ransford pops out wide
to create that
little 1-2 overloads. Because the skill
that's tough to
just
defend too. Like if I'm an opposing CDM, if I follow, I know that it opens up space for the weak side winger in the 9. So I don't want to follow. But then you give away that 2v1,
And here's where Ransford wins the PK from a ball forward from our boy Remy.
That was just miscommunication from the back line, sadly.
And Ransford finishes what he started, goes up 2-0. I forget when the red card came. It was just a double yellow. But Indiana really started pouring it on here.
Do you think
Colton
that's a
Swan.
DK?
Yeah, Colton Swan, clever.
It's tough. I don't know. It's 50-50.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
think
mean, I think it was
Yeah,
building throughout the
Indian
match
Indians
because
isn't gonna
like
be
the physicality was there. So tough to maybe not give it. Yeah, that relationship
good.
again, Ransford and little swim move there for Richmond. And this is the start of the sequence of this unbelievable goal. This might be one of my favorites of the match day. So Federici started off playing the corner kick. Frenzy of defending here. Ball pops out. It comes wide to Kinsella. And this cross, volley, hammer in.
That's a good technique right there.
Yeah. And yeah, the environment and even last year, well, obviously long standing years, but I remember, I forget what game it was, but I think Indiana came back and the guys on the call were so good. It just like, it's one of those matches where you feel like the butterflies and everything.
Yeah. No, that's a good
And
match. Like,
yeah.
that's a solid game
And,
of ball.
you know, my brother loves Bloomington.
Our most active member on the chat. Respect.
Yeah. Speaking of the chat, we know we probably have like players, parents, coaches. You may want to remain anonymous. But if you're a player and you're like, man, my teammate put in a shift. Love that guy. What a match week performance. Pop him a shout out. No pressure.
In the next game, continuing on the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Michigan, Notre Dame, which was kind of like a really good game, but I know we talked kind of had like an English style vibe of just like back and forth kind of a.
Yeah, that's exactly how I saw it. I was like, you know, the spacing was right. The mix of direct play and more technical passing patterns. It like the match had it all. It was actually one of the more entertaining 1-1 draws that I saw, but you know, this is how they lined up. I thought the movement of the personnel for Notre Dame was really fun to watch. Like Sebastian Green would move up to basically where Zimmerman's spot is, and Zimmerman would come or like more towards the 10. Spicer would drop into the 10. So at time and McDowd would drop down. So it was more like a 3-2-3-2 in possession, or even like a 3-1-4-2 in a way with Lewis popping down. But yeah, I just talk about the going into or just wanting to be a fly on the wall. Like I'd love to see like a Chad Riley training session to see, because that player movement is like so much fun to see on match day. I want to kind of see what the cooks are in the kitchen on that. But even you know, matching that, I think Shaka Daly going into this season, you know, losing Bryce Blevins and why am I blanking? He's the most like he's a pro. I'll think of it. But anyway, I thought they played really well. They were probably maybe more of the threatening team in that match, and a lot of it I feel like was the wide playmaking battle of Shuma Sasaki and KK Bafor on each side. It was like, which wide playmaker is just going to be sparking the most influence. So we start there with KK. I just love when he has space to dribble. Test Goldson early.
Yeah, you don't want a winger who is afraid and wants to turn back every time. Like there's a time and place, but a winger who's not afraid to just go at it's always dangerous.
Yeah, and there was Sasaki on the break, like just giving a handful to McDowd. And again here, splits a little high. I think that actually went out for a corner kick. So we'll give some credit there. And I was really impressed with that maneuver right there. I have that in there because Michigan's ability, 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 through the lines. It's it's a thing of having 2 central defenders who are accomplished passers, breaking that first line, midfield, turn, next line. It's just 1, 2, 3 through the lines in Tustin. And throughout the game, Kelly, who was on your ACC, preview team, he was alert to it pretty much the entire time. I thought he had a really good game, but we'll keep going here. Believe this might be the goal. Nope. He's priming though.
He's always looking to go at the defender.
He does end up getting the. Oh yeah, of course, it's the equalizer. This is the goal here from Ochoa. Pops right to him.
And that's good for him. I know he was injured all last season with like the ACL and stuff. So
yeah, and that's the talking about like the English style match, having 2 center back pairings all right, pause. That evasiveness by Wyatt Lewis I had to put that in there, even though it wasn't a goal chance because. And yeah, here's the goal from Sasaki. Finds a window. Gets his goal on his Michigan debut. Jake Tatch, one of the freshmen, sets up Will Baker. But yeah, I was saying Baker, Miller on one end, Ochoa and Ferguson on the other. The center back pairings that are, if you grew up with the Premier League, it was always like you got to have strong center backs. So that's maybe a part of why this kind of also felt like a English game. Good, strong tackles, but it wasn't ridiculously dirty or scrappy. Like that's a foul there that KK earned. But yeah, it's like nothing was, when some games it's just ridiculous. I mean, there was a goal line clearance by Mitch Ferguson kind of saved the game there. And then he follows it up even a couple minutes later. And this is one thing I like to see. So I'll pause it here. So Diego Ochoa taking the 1v1. Ferguson knows that Mendez will be taken, or McDowd is him. So Ferguson now is like looking at Ochoa like, if there's a window here, let's see, who was this? Yeah, if Nick Cassidy finds a window in this 1v1, because it's kind of tough to tee up a tackle in the 18-yard box and feel super confident about it. He's looking and he's like, I'm going to back up Ochoa. And that's exactly what happens. Steps in, makes a block. But I love that tiered defending. And that'll come into a couple other games that we saw. KK, I'll split the defense. Runs into more traffic. A little block there. Sasaki's like, all right, you did that. I'm going to go 1v2. In the next clip. But yeah, I never really watched Sasaki before this game, and I thought he was very good. And that was a great ball.
A weak foot too.
All right, this is the clip where he goes 1v2. And he earns a foul here on the edge of the yeah, they pulled it back for a foul there on the edge of the area. This play I'll bring back just a tad since it's the last one in our group. Maybe back a little bit more. All right. So Ochoa layoff Lewis, Long, that like checkbacks that teams are starting to do a lot more.
Yeah.
It definitely helps give some like more space and then create a chance. So I liked that game. You're a soccer fan if you love a 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
But did you also watch South Carolina Charleston?
I wasn't able to, but I saw some of the goals, which were actually impressive.
Well, you're about to see him again because this game, it was maybe I just don't know the history of South Carolina versus Charleston, but like, man, was it scrappy and chippy. I didn't look back at how many cards were given out, but for 70 minutes of the game, it was a lot of that, like scrappy physical battle. And then that last 20 minutes, you get 5 goals. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's how it is, though. Like, it's like it happens so fast.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was like by design, but like big looping ball. It shifts the defense, which is good. Like everyone's looking one way and now they're shifting the other way. Ball comes back in the other way.
Great ball.
Goldsworthy capitalizes 1-0. But hold the phone. Tough defending here. And I'm only going to call it out because they know this. But Jonah Biggar is better than that. And
It's got to be a little bit more tighter.
Yeah, they know that. And you have to be when you're going up against Clemson on Tuesday. But not too much longer later, Mika Habel. And I threw this in here because that's a little nice pull down. Did you teach Tyler that?
Something
but he ends
like
up winning this foul.
And a 2-touch game.
I want to pause that. But on the replay of that, talk about studs on the ankle, but Tyler's okay. Sets up this free kick, and what a free kick it is. So I have to bring everyone's attention.
21st against Sweden, if you know, you know. Yeah, that's actually perfect.
And they needed that insurance goal because only less than 2 minutes later, Charleston come back and find a lifeline. I think Verster's also going to want that one back.
Yeah.
I think he has a higher standard for himself. But, yeah, it'll be a very interesting matchup on Tuesday for South Carolina traveling to another in-state rivalry against Clemson. So
that will be a good one. Like that's
a little chess match there.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I couldn't tell. I didn't ask anybody, but like some of the fields over the course of the first week, some of them felt a little waterlogged in a way. But that Michigan field looked really good. The ball was moving, like zipping along. But some of the games, like I think maybe the Charlotte game, the ball just felt like it was a little bit early in like these guys' feet were moving a little slow.
Yeah.
Sometimes the surface, like I don't know. Again, I didn't confirm that with anybody, so just one thing that I saw.
Yeah, then I know we both didn't watch the FGCU game, but we did put it in there because it's a good start of the season for them. Because we know it's been tough the last couple of seasons for them.
Yeah, and they brought in a new coach who was successful at the D2 level with CSU Pueblo, Oliver 12 Trees, one of the best names in NCAA soccer. And he gets a 2-1 result with one of his guys from Pueblo. Joe Oliveira got a brace. And, it was an important win for them because, like we've said, I mean, you're coming into a program that maybe a lot of people didn't even realize was around, and you're trying to put it on the map. Fort Myers, though, great place.
It'll be interesting to see how they continue on.
Yeah, especially I think they're traveling out to Utah Valley
Valley.
next, and I believe we'll show it at the end, but I'm pretty sure they won 4-0 in their
Yeah.
opener, so that'll be a good one for the mid majors.
And then we have UNCG, Radford. UNCG comfortable win, 6-2. Brace from both Enzo Duvlo and Julian Bordelus. It was a comfortable game. I mean, they conceded 2 goals, but it was kind of just moments that they switched off. But UNCG looks solid. They look in the past they've inverted that one of the outside backs. Last year it was more Daniel Longo who played left back for them. This year he actually started in the midfield with Julian and Magnus Koller, who is a Watford transfer, and they kind of just did a classic 4-3-3. So they didn't really do much in regards to player movement, because that can get confusing for the players, especially in transition moments, like leaving that whole side open. And then Campbell transferred Teva Lasik started left back, and it was just a kind of a pure structure 4-3-3. Enzo holding the width like we kind of expected. Both of his goals basically came from driving in from the right side and taking on his defenders. And yeah, like other than that, it was just they weren't too challenged. So in regards to changing up the way they had to build up, that didn't happen. But I mean, I know we talk about Julian a lot, but he kind of just had the free roam playmaker position. Even though he did start deep, he did join in the attack quite a bit. And I think him and Enzo are probably going to be the danger man in regards to, like, on a scouting report, you're going to watch those two. Tatavine also looked good, of course. He kind of, he does attract a lot of defenders, which open up those flicks to the wingers running in behind. They did concede off a set piece, but that's early days in regards to like the first game of the season. That does happen a lot more than people think. But yeah, I mean, at UNCG is always a difficult place because how expensive they play and how big the field is. But when you score 6 goals at the first game of the season, it's good for everyone.
Yeah, and it was reminiscent of that West Virginia thing where I don't think too many people are going to be like worried about the 2 goals that each side let in.
Yeah.
Because once you establish a little bit of a buffer, you still want a early season. I don't know what the substitutions were like, but you want to try to get some of those guys in early in the meaningful games. Tournament going down at Koskinen at Duke. The first of those is your Furman.
The
Furman guys.
Yeah, you beat UC San Diego.
Nice little diving header there.
Yeah. Luke Hutzel had a really good freshman season. Last year, they did a 3-4-3, and he was one of the 6s, but he was kind of the mainstay in regards to like the playmaker, playing balls in behind, winning second balls. And it's obvious that he's carried on that form this season with a goal and assist.
Yeah.
But you see how high they pressed up. Like they really commit to it, and they get rewarded in the next 2 goals here because they overload the middle and win the ball, then they can break right away.
Yeah, because that's it's definitely the headline: Furman press for success. And at the bottom left of the screen here, 2 of the outlet passes are marked 1v1, and then it's like basically a 4v2 in that on the right side where the ball is.
Yeah.
And they put on pressure, great tackle there, step up, transition,
little up back throw.
Yeah, beautiful little combination there. Just slices them open. And this is even more indicative of like that press. So you see the 3 white shirts there in a 3v3 on that bottom triangles. Then you see the upward movement of the 2 white shirts on the right side.
Yeah.
So now they're creating a 5v3 basically. Obviously, there's an outlet through to the center back, but even that like middle of that 5-man group, like he's ready for that jump to that right center back. But this type of like you want these type of advantages when you're in possession, not out of possession.
Yeah.
So like when you're going up against a 3v5 in your own corner, It's a lot of pressure because if you give up the ball, now it's a 5v3 the other way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
And especially how expensive UC San Diego is in the build. You got to get like 2v1s, 3v2s. And
Yeah.
a freshman center back from Atlanta United, Braden Dunham, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Like he just captained the U18 U.S. Youth National Team to a tournament. So him and Ryan make a good center back pairing. So like overall, I was impressed. And they play San Diego tomorrow, so if they can win that game because San Diego is a ranked team, and then they're going to be 2-0 with Duke coming at their place, and that's the Clint Dempsey like retirement game. Like it could be a really good start to the season.
You don't know where I'm from, dog.
Yeah, no, yeah, that. And that was Doug Allison's 350th career win, which is crazy.
Are you going to hang out with your boy Clint?
Clint, no, we're not really boys like that, but maybe I'm not making a.
You could have fooled everybody.
No, I have a picture with him of us playing, but that's all. Nothing like that.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And you know what else is shocking?
He's a chill guy, though. He's a chill guy.
Yeah. No, I like the exchange.
You wouldn't expect him to be such a like if you just met him and you didn't know anything about soccer, you wouldn't think he was a soccer player. But then like you watch his highlights and like even at the alumni game, he still got the touch.
Yeah. I just love the exchange with Mika Richards, where it's like, you don't know where I'm from, dog. And he's like,
he's never heard anything like that.
Like, well, what did you say? I'm from Chapeltown.
Yeah.
Classic.
Talk about shocking though. I kind of cut off your transition there. That was really cool.
Yeah, I was trying to do the transition, but the most shocking part of it is shocking that we're still doing an exhibition, but also the result. You can take it away.
Yeah. Emory and Henry, they beat ETSU 2-0. Of course, it's a preseason friendly, and ETSU probably had a lot of rotation, but we kind of put that in there because I didn't think the stat was real. Emory and Henry, they haven't won a game in the last 4 years. So that's a lot of losses in a row. And I think it's a new first-year head coach. A lot of foreign talent mixed with some domestic talent. But that's really good for them when they continue their season because, I mean, some of those players aren't even part of the team in regards to Emory and Henry. But ETSU, like I said, it's not panic, but it's definitely like, you don't want to lose to a team who isn't in your division, but also hasn't won a game. And that is something mentally when you go into these teams and they're not good or they have a stat line of like they haven't won a game in X amount. When it gets kind of the like late first half or second half and it's tied, it kind of like, oh no, like I don't want to be a part of the team to lose or to tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I had to even look up where Emory and Henry is on the map.
Like a best friend show, Emory and Henry Adventures or something,
Yeah. I mean, it's up 81 just past Bristol, so not a far drive, but yeah, Johnson City to
respect to them for winning.
Yeah. I mean, who knows the backstory, but yeah. Don't get all bend fast on me and demand for promotion relegation.
Nah, it's wild. Imagine that in D1.
See, like, I'm surprised there wasn't a tweet. Oh my God, a Division II team or whatever just beat.
Like commenting under like the new US soccer like promotion thing. Yeah. Then of course NC State.
Yeah.
2-0 win against Queens, and Donovan Phillip once again scored a goal, which isn't surprising, from a Tay Healy assist.
Yeah, a little quick rundown here, just the 2 goals that we'll show. But yeah, just
that's a great solo
muscles
effort.
As well in the corner, drives in.
I mean, this is a center back touch. This isn't like a center back should not be doing that.
I mean, he's a hell of a center back.
No, I know. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's extremely impressive that he had that in his locker and that composure.
I want to say, I'm trying to think back to the beginning of that goal, like to why he was still up there. I think it was a long throw.
It was a long throw that got cleared from like the back right side, and they stayed up, and then the freshman left back from England, I don't know his name, but just lofted it in, and I mean, he probably saw the size that they had up there and it was like, why not? And solid. Like second half, they did kind of days off a little bit, which I don't want to say is expected, but when you're 2-0 and you're playing a team who isn't as good as you, it's easy to kind of days off,
Yeah.
But it's good for Philip and Tay Healy to get that partnership continuing, and they play Watford on Sunday. So if they can get 2 good wins and score some goals tomorrow and be 2-0, that would be good, and like for their overall confidence and kind of getting the new players together.
Yeah, because that assist was a new player.
Yeah, English left back. I don't know his name though.
Yeah, I lost it once I took because I was like, I don't even remember that guy's name on the roster, but yeah, good to see fresh faces getting production right off the bat. Yeah, I mean, with the type of, obviously both of the goals from NC State were from big figures. But there are a couple other big figures in Kentucky that lead the line.
Your transitions have been on point tonight.
Yeah,
I like it. It's smooth.
Here.
I like it. No, so
but yeah, this was one that I think you were the primary on.
Yeah, I tuned into this one. Kentucky 2-1 win against Western Michigan at Western Michigan, which is a tough place to play. And graduate transfer from Iowa Northwestern, Alejandro Ruiz, with 2 goals. Kentucky lined up in a classic 4-4-2 old school with Chisholm, who's 6'3", and Virginia transfer Joaquin Brazilia, who's 6'2". And it was...
Yeah, I think he's a Godoy.
Yeah.
Argentina.
Yeah, he's foreign, and I mean the first goal was Route 1 football. We'll probably play the video, but
yeah, I will.
James Madison transfer, Sebastian Conlon just bunted up. Then
that's part of it
right
too.
here,
Like
Chisholm
this is definitely Route 1. But I think a lot of the theme too is like the quicker you can get from box to box in college soccer, whether it's on the ground or Route 1, like it can
also
create some of the best chances you might have.
If you have a 6'3" and a 6'4", 6'3" and 6'2", the 9s who can flick it and hold it up with pacey outside mids, yeah, like you're gonna do that. Like you have to play into your strength. You have to play what suits you best as a team. Meaning, if you don't have mobile midfielders and center backs, you can't play. You don't want to play from the goal kick like Marshall plays. You know what I mean? Like you want to play to what suits you best. And Kentucky, they have technical fast wingers, like the freshman winger Gustav Renneman from Sweden was very talented and energetic. So it's like, yeah, play up to your 9, flick on, or win second balls. There's no need to play through the midfield if you don't have to. With that being said, Oliver Stavdil and Bert Tel Albin, if I mispronounce your words, I apologize. But they bossed the midfield for the majority of the game in regards to like just controlling the play and playing it out wide and winning second balls, especially because Kentucky did go forward a lot to the 2 9s. But like I said, I think this is a great example of a team playing to the strengths,
Yeah, and I didn't even think that there's more to show. So like, yeah, again, a newcomer to a system getting off the mark so quickly. That's what you want, because you know what you got with the guys that have been there, and it's only a matter of time before they get hot. So getting the new guys hot, it just kind of, the coaching staffs are probably pretty excited about getting some of these new guys. But I mean, here's his winner. A little messy in the box, pops out to him, finds a window, gets the win. But yeah, I'm not surprised about Stavdal in your review. He looked good last year as well.
Yeah. No, but like overall, good game. Like Western Michigan did have good moments, but I was just focusing on Kentucky more because that 9-9 partnership is dangerous and like reminds me of Conde and Phillip in regards to like the amount of eyes are going to be on them in games. But like I said, that opens up spaces for technical players. So
yeah,
overall, solid game for Kentucky away from home. But yeah, like it will be interesting to see if they continue with that 4-4-2. I think they are, because they can also invert the wingers to create more of an overload in the middle if needed. But overall, it was a solid game, and
Yeah, was
Western
Augustine
Michigan.
Lopez in?
So no, he did not play. So I'm not
Yeah, that's
sure,
what I thought. Like,
because
was
he
kind of
played
glancing
10
at.
last year. So I do
Yeah,
think
he'll
if
be
he
a big
does come back,
addition.
he'll play probably right mid or left mid, just because you can't really break up this partnership now. With that being said, he'll have the freedom to come inside if needed.
And I might have zoned out. But did you talk about Gustav?
Gustav,
You had a note in there about
yeah,
Gustav
I know. Just
Brennan being
he was
energetic
on the
on the
left
left.
mid.
Yeah.
He was solid. Like, because they played the 4-4-2, he did have more freedom of like kind of like patrolling that left side. I will say sometimes the left back did invert high, and then Gustav held the touch line, which he was comfortable with. So like he did show versatility. But I think I need to see a little bit more of him to get a better read. But like overall, he was just like an energetic winger who wanted the ball and attack. Like that's all you can ask for an attacking player, especially a freshman in his first game.
Yeah. Yeah, and then our buddy Scott Wells down at Garner Webb, 4-0 result over Drexel, 2 goals and an assist for Jalen Orr.
Solid start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to. I don't think did either of us. I know I didn't watch it.
I did not watch it. There's too many games
yeah.
going on, so we had to pick and choose.
Yeah, and I think obviously over the course of the season, like especially with the bulk of week 1, we're gonna be actually sitting down and taking notes on pretty much every team out there. So if it's like medium or small coverage on a particular game throughout the season, you might see an expanded view of it. But because I do want to see Drexel, because a few of the guys that have come through there over the years, it's a team maybe outside of Philadelphia that a lot of people don't really look at, but
Yeah.
I mean, they've produced quite a few pros that are currently playing. So yeah, I want to see what their new crop is, especially with like Dominic Bastian, now pro, or at least can't remember if it was a 25-day contract or what, but and Whitaker Francis transferring, and obviously all the Union fans out there love him or hate him, Chris Donovan.
Yeah.
One of those, the next game that ESPN Plus, love it, but also this was a game that I was like dying to clip, but obviously I couldn't clip it. So, and it wasn't available in time for the episode. But yeah, I think you watched this one from start to finish.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was North Carolina 3-1 win over UCF. North Carolina rolled out in a 5-3-2, which I don't think we expected. The back three consisted of Emmanuel Math, who was a Whitecaps 2 product, good size, good speed. Left center back was Dylan Gropp, which we expected. Left center back was Emmanuel. Center back was Dylan Gropp. Then right center back was Callum Ferguson, who also, like Emmanuel, they play those roles well because they're both comfortable kind of drifting wide and following the 9 and winger drifting there. But also they have the speed to drop back in if needed. And yeah, overall, I'm not going to lie, UCF looked solid the first 10, 15. They got a good early goal from the Jem Hewlett, the English freshman, the South Carolina Academy product. Just a good long ball over the top. And they got a French forward at UCF, Lillian Roquel, who's a junior, who I've never heard of or seen, but really good size. Played left wing, but he was like 6 foot, like 6 something.
Yeah, and pair that with Claudel and Gubu, and you got massive size. Not even 6'2" size. It's like 6'5".
No, but so UNC did go behind early, but slowly they kind of grew back into the game. San Diego transfer Jack Sandmeyer. He was a lone CDM in that 5-3-2, and he was solid, good size, just played the simple ball. And then I think the second half they put a lot of pressure on UCF, and the game got stretched early in the second half, so it was kind of a track meet. And I think just UNC had more legs and took their chances, quite frankly. And UCF played a basically classic 4-3-3. Joey Mueller was the lone six, and Ken Mwendo, the Lindsey Wilson transfer, he played more of the 6-8, and he covers a lot of ground, and he was impressive on the ball. So that's someone to definitely take a look at. And because it was a 4-3-3 against a 5-3-2, the midfield was stacked evenly. So there wasn't like an overload for either team, I would say. So both teams had a good moments keeping the ball. But like I said, the second half it got so stretched where it was like you couldn't really go into too much detail about it, you know?
Yeah. But
But other than that, like
right was probably bombing up and down the left or
yeah, I mean he was
the right
active
flank.
all game.
Yeah.
Him and Lillian, the French transfer, like they were going at it, which was cool to see. But yeah, he's an engine for sure. And he basically played as a right winger in possession because it was so expensive because that's how UNC plays. I think defensively they played expensive as well, meaning like Emmanuel and Callum were comfortable drifting wide and following, but that kind of messed up the back five shape. So that's how UCF scored their first goal, where like they didn't track and they kind of stepped up at the wrong time. But overall, like North Carolina still has that depth in regards to forward players and midfielders.
Yeah.
So they were doing subs every 15, 20 and just bringing on good talent, which I think helped them in the long run because UCF didn't have that depth at the end of the day.
Yeah. And Nacho Abiel.
Yeah.
Getting the goal in his debut.
Yeah. I think UNC do like those graduate transfers, but he played on the left side of the midfield three and he was active, technical, took the goal well, but like I said, it was a solid game. I think second half, it's common for these games to get stretched, especially on the big fields. And I think after that, it just comes to who takes their chances. I know it sounds like a simple remark, but each team got chances in regards to how like, it wasn't anything amazing, but it was just like one or two passes and you're in on net or top of the box, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, not to put you on a filibuster here, or you're just covering too many games in a row. But yeah, another ACC team, one that we covered, I think, fairly well in depth during the ACC preview. But SMU versus Kansas City, one of the up and coming teams in college soccer, 2-2 draw.
Oh yeah, this was a really good game.
And
Kansas
it was
City
one that,
impressed me.
yeah, we definitely wanted to see like what SMU was going to do coming out of last season because of the guys that have like since left for the pros. Huge shoes to fill. So yeah, I guess talk us through, I guess,
No, it was
from the defense on the way
it
through.
was a 2-2 tie. So the first thing that I noticed with SMU is that they defended in a 4 and attacked in a 3. So defensively, it was basically like a 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Offensively, it was more of a 3-5-2, and they rotate heavily with the 9s because they have three to four really good options. So defensively, Jalen Mitchell would play a right back, and Vilas would play left back. And then after that, Vilas would shift in as the left-sided center back. Then Jalen Mitchell would then go right wing back. And that they were smooth in that rotation. I will say they definitely do miss the wing back pairing from last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very tough to replicate that.
Yeah. Because that was I don't know if we'll see a wingback pairing quite like that.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future, just with how effective they were on both sides.
I would say like Jalen was dangerous as
yeah,
the right wing back, but I do think it's like he needs to be in the midfield more, inverted more, one of those 10 spots. And I do think we talked about this with South Carolina, like the best teams, in my opinion, who do that 3-back system play offensive wing backs, whether it's a natural winger or an attacking outside back, because at times they would get the ball and they would go back, which isn't a bad option, but it's on to go forward sometimes. So I do think there's success to be had there. It's just a matter of the personnel of who do you want to put, because you could put a right-footed left winger as a left wing back role and probably get more production, but then how do you set up defensively, you know? So those are just questions that they have to answer. They rotated the 9s quite a bit. They had Milton Lopez, Musiaka, Emmanuel,
Yeah.
Luis Suarez,
Sagamonian.
yeah, and Stefan
Yeah, Sagamonian.
yeah,
Love that.
Sagamonian. So like they were just like different pairings every like 15, 30 minutes to see what clicked. I'm
Mhm.
surprised they didn't do a 3-4-3 with Charles being one of the 10s with another technical player. I do think that's Daniel Escobar. He was
Yeah,
injured.
Scorsia. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he
he
was
was
injured.
like, I know he wasn't like crazy on the stat sheet, but like I thought the role he played last year was really effective. So
I think when he gets healthy, it'll probably be him and Charles as the two 10s, and the Knights have to compete for that spot. Because I think having those two 10s has the ability for them to drift wide to create overloads with the wingback, but also support inside for the two 6s. Whereas it's not just Charles or whoever that 10 is going side to side. Because if he's
yeah,
on the left side and they switch it over, he can only run so fast to get in that pocket. Which if you have another 10 there, it's a quick combination, you know.
yeah.
But
And for all the viewers out there who may have missed the ACC preview, if you don't know who Charles is, it's Charles Emile Brunet.
yeah, the Central Arkansas transfer.
Yeah,
We go on first name basis around here.
yeah. Sometimes we do because
Yeah, I
like
know, but
yeah, Harvey
Kansas.
at Wake Forest.
Yeah. With that being said, Kansas City looks solid. I was impressed by them. Well coached team. Gabriel Gaucho. He's an Italian midfielder, number 10. He's only a sophomore, but I thought he impressed me a lot. He was basically a 6-8 for them.
Yeah, I think he
I feel
showed
like
up
Kansas
as
City,
having 2 assists. I know he had the one. We're gonna show the one
yeah.
counterattacking goal
Then
because I lumped in a couple counterattacking just
yeah.
to give everyone a thrill.
And Joaquim Batista transferred from FIU. He played right back first half, and I think even like left back, left wing second half. He was energetic as a right back, just getting up and down. Good battles with Jalen Mitchell. Then Wade Muttett, the English graduate forward from St. Mary's. He impressed me a lot. He played basically the second striker role, more of like a higher 10, smaller size, but super quick and always looking to run with and without the ball. And that's how they got the second goal. He just saw the ball and went for it, and just the speed took over. But they did this without Ellie Cascago, who, I mean, I know he had a really good season last year, but he was like, I think the 6th or 7th ranked top drawer soccer player. And we know those rankings, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but
Yeah,
the stats last year speak for themselves. So the fact that they got this result with him only playing 15 minutes shows how they can be dangerous without him, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I'll bring up those goals. It'll kind of segue like a different game. But starting off with that one counterattack. Let's get the volume off. This was almost like karate kick. That could have been dangerous for both players, but look at the wheels.
Yeah.
The wheels on Wade.
Like that's what, like, just as in the corner kick, you gotta just get on his back and like foul if needed, but don't be squared when he gets the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, coincidentally, it was interesting because UMass Lowell, similar thing, defending a corner kick goes the other way, and UMass Lowell, they're flying up the field for these 2 goals that they had. Big or not, or the next one's a big clearance, but he's just zipping along, shoots the keeper, empty netter. And so that was the second goal. The first goal, I only wanted to pair those because they were very similar in style. But look at the little motor here.
Oh no.
Skins them, another empty netter.
The first minute of the season too is always tough to be doing that.
Yeah, and they went on to win 2-1 against St. Peter's. So a little counterattacking thrill for everybody, showing off the wheels.
Yeah, it was overall the SMU Kansas City, like both. It was a good soccer game because SMU did come back to tie it up, and they did have really good moments. But it will be interesting to see how they go about it in regards to the personnel of like who kind of fills in what position when everyone's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had Wake Forest and Maryland on the TV as I think I was still clipping out Indiana and Clemson. So my attention wasn't fully there. Um, I was gonna watch the replay, but then it got canceled due to weather in the second
Yeah.
half. So I didn't go back and watch it. But I mean, you have plenty of notes here and a lot of big names on both sides. And it
No,
was Maryland that saw, and it was like this was one of the biggest matchups of the match day.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that they weren't able to see the end, but yeah, give us
I mean,
the rundown here.
Before looking at the rosters and lineups, Maryland reloaded their team really well. Wake Forest didn't reload the team with transfers, but had a lot of good returners and a couple of key pieces coming back in. The players that stuck out with me is NGK from Stefani NGK from originally Rhode Island. Then he went to Marshall, and now he's at Maryland. Spent summer in Vermont Green, but he was a handful in the left wing. Him and Amani Thomas were going at it all game. And we talked about Amani Thomas being one of the best lockdown defenders, but I mean, NGK had his way a couple times with him, and he plays with such like a coolness and arrogance, but like it's confidence at the end of the day that he draws so many players in, and then from that he can find threaded passes or through balls. So him, very talented. He's someone that's going to be a handful for outside backs. Then on top of that, you have on the other side, Saddam Masareka, who is just pacey, workhorse.
Fleet of foot.
Yeah, it's just like those arguably the best wing pairing in college soccer up there in regards to causing
elite physicality,
like causing
elite
problems,
speed.
going at them. But then the midfield, I'll let you pronounce the names, but this midfield was very veteran-like and composed, and yeah, it was solid. You have, like, of course, Picotto.
Joseph Picotto,
yeah,
our boy.
Then
Kristan Letna.
Yeah, and then you have Albi
Andronenka,
and like those three just worked well. They both took turns being the 6 and a double pivot, being the 10, winning second balls.
Yeah, was Leon Cole out? I didn't even look at the.
I didn't see him, but Colin Griffith was out as well, who was the main 9 last year. So the fact that they were winning 1-0 and playing pretty well without him is a good sign. We talked about Rocket, the best name in college soccer. He performed well when he came on and looked smooth and not out of place.
Yeah, there were quite a few freshmen. I'll take a momentary pause there. Like that, I felt like some of the new incoming freshmen that, like Colton Swan, if you never knew anything about him, you wouldn't have maybe assumed like, oh, that kid's a freshman, or Gavin Wetzel. Then I mean, there were just quite a few. Like even, I mean, we showed earlier Jake Tatch.
Yeah.
So like it's great seeing the younger guys coming in and feeling at home or looking at home from the outside perspective. And so yeah, it's because that's obviously what we love doing is, seeing the trajectory of the players' careers and stuff like that. So,
but like, even though we're talking about Maryland a lot, Wake did have some good moments. It wasn't that Maryland was on the whole time. I think Maryland did have the better chances overall in the momentum, but Wake, of course, it's still Wake, so they had good moments with the ball. The midfield 3 with Bassett, Cooper, and Perez had good moments of combination. The back 4 was a little bit newer in regards to Mason Sullivan had his first start as a left center back, and Vlad actually played left back as well. And I don't know about you, but we've never seen him play that position before. So it was difficult from his perspective to kind of, playing against Maryland, your first time playing that position is always going to be tough, So I think that's where Maryland kind of attacked that because the inexperience of playing that position. But then like Escobar came subbed in after 15-20. So Wake kind of got more control after that. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey White looked really solid in the right wing. He was probably the most dangerous player for them going forward. they played Harvey as a 9. I don't think they're going to continue that. He was okay, and like he can play all across the front three.
Yeah,
But
but
I
that's
think
not really his natural
yeah, I think his
spot.
best position is left wing touchline, getting them the ball, going at the players, and especially if you have like, you know, you have Parrish, you have you have
Ethan Subachan.
yeah, you have 3 9s that can play there, and like I don't know behind the scenes what's going on, but you want to play you want to play Harvey in his best position, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
left wing and just like letting him kind of go at the player.
Yeah, because I
See how
think
Wake
the way
plays.
he's able to go from like the left wing position and find the space in the central interior, or like, I think the combination of a step back from the lead line,
Yeah,
similar to how Cooper Flax's success is drawn, is from that like deeper spot where he's not sitting on the shoulders of center backs.
yeah,
Um, and when you got guys that can do that, I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, who really knows about like fitness or health and all that? So
Like I think the second half would have been much better and like a better gauge to see it overall. But both of these teams look dangerous. I would say Maryland is probably more exciting in regards to like the all around performance they put. With that being said, like Wake's 2 or 3 players of playing them in the right personnel to being like extremely dangerous and like just clicking,
yeah, yeah, and I know like that was one half, but I think even leading into the season, seeing the type of guys that Maryland brought in, and there's a rumor that they're going to bring in somebody else too. That like when you look at the Big Ten, that they were going to be one of the favorites for sure, like out of the top 3 favorites. Because
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Indiana played a tough Clemson team, but and they do. I thought Palmer played really well. Obviously Collins played well. Federici, I'd have to check on what the. Obviously, it's not like pro soccer where they're given the injury reports, but Josh Mayer coming out of the game with an injury, but like obviously Indiana, like no one's writing off Indiana in week 1, but if you're looking at the small sample size of the Big Ten, Maryland's got to be the early favorite after actually getting to see them.
And all that.
Yeah, because they're only going to get stronger and more cohesive.
Yeah.
But like as you were talking about Stefan and GK, it like popped into my head because we've already talked about NC State. We're about to talk about maybe in a couple quick games, Ricky Lewis.
Yeah, Georgia.
But I was like, man, what an attacking 3 it would be if you had Donovan Phillip in the center, Stefan and GK on the left, and Ricky Lewis on the right. Like that's
a long day for the defenders.
Yeah, I mean, and the skill to match, potent goal threats because Ricky scored, and GK dangerous, Donovan scored, and
and we talked about like
Tabs will be
size too. Like he's kind of like filling into his body, which makes him more dangerous because he still is mobile within that,
Yeah. Do like a few quick hits here.
Yeah.
Just goals. No like intense comments. But Bucknell, Hofstra, Penn State, Stenson, and Virginia, San Diego State.
Yeah.
Start with Bucknell's the goals from that game. So it started off with Daniel Burkow getting off the mark, just transferred in from Syracuse. And then the boys from Bucknell get a little maneuver and evasiveness. How's it go? And then, this one I think was a really good one because it'll pop out to Jack Lucas here. Top right corner for the winner.
I mean, that's a huge result for Bucknell if you think about how dominant Hofstra has been.
Yeah. Yeah, especially being ranked. So that was worth noting. Bring up
coaching career.
The Virginia San Diego State. So Alvin Gashi got things started for the Cavaliers. But here's Nicholas Simmons there.
What a touch.
What a touch there. I love that like little deft.
That's why he was in my team.
Through ball there. And then new man, Jesus De Vicente, ices the game. Let me get, because we definitely have to show Caden Grabfelder's goals.
Yeah.
Well, especially the first one.
The first one was amazing.
Scoreless match.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I want to see like who it was. But,
into the back of the.
Why am I keep clicking?
Great check of the shoulder too.
All right, we'll rewatch it again.
Like right here, boom, is like the ideal position for any.
Yeah, like he's just so free and he knows it.
Yeah.
And boom, postage stamp. It's funny, the right winger was like, oh my God, I don't even like on this replay, I think.
Well, like the
when this goes in, he's like, oh, what did I just see? And a crafty, a little crafty free kick to get the second. And again, ice in the game. Both 2-0 results for Penn State and Virginia. Then for, again, another game that we weren't able to clip, but I think both of us watched components of it. Georgia Southern versus Charlotte at Charlotte. I mean, I feel like the first 10 minutes we're kind of feeling each other out because Charlotte really didn't do much until maybe the 11th minute. So like 11 to 15, they had 3 really good chances. You know, they had Ogata wide. One was from the central area, and then one was from a corner kick. And that one was probably the best of the first like 20 minutes of the game. So like the momentum in that first segment was probably shifting toward Charlotte, but then sure enough, beautiful long ball forward by Noah Holmstrom finds Ricky Lewis right down the middle. Strider comes out to try to meet it. It's one of the kind of what we saw was it SMU? One of the counterattacking goals. Ricky just got there right in the nick of time. Same thing. Empty netter for him. But like, I mean, me and you, we talked about it. It's like if you're a striker, if you go back and see that goal, maybe it's on like Charlotte or Georgia Southern social media or something. But it's like, ask your center back, can you please do this for me? If you can hit that type of ball, because it was like perfect in terms of there wasn't too much height to where the Charlotte defensive line could adjust to it. So it was driven enough, and it was right on the outside of their own 18. Enough pace, enough drive, split the gap, and obviously trusted the speed of Ricky to get there. And I mean, that's what you want if you're going to go route one.
And that's all you need too. They have the player that can do that for them. So why not do that? Even if they want to play good soccer and like build through the midfield, do that every couple times just to make sure this back line's on their toes.
Yeah, because I've even done that in like my coaching. I'm not really a route one type of guy in terms of my coaching, but like, you know, for some teams that you're going up against, it's like, let's not make it a thing. We don't play kickball around here, but like, you got to test the wheels sometimes. Be like, if we know we have some fast guys, make them think about it. Especially early on. It's like, let's make your kind of be like, oh, now I gotta be a little bit more, especially if you want space underneath, like throughout the game. If you can send a few long balls forward that really make the defensive line like think about it as like, oh, they're gonna be really pushing me for pace. Now, whenever that center back's on the ball, and they're looking up, that opposition center back might be like, oh, is he going to go long again? Because they want to cheat
And a lot of
on a
center
stop.
backs,
Yeah.
like
So
a
you
lot
can
of center
say,
backs don't like when they have to turn the hips and back and like face the goal.
yeah,
And to your point, if you have an athletic winger or 9 who's able to do that, if you do that ball twice, that's good. Then make the outside back or a center back drop, which then opens up space for your midfield to control the game. And then that's when the combination can come. And then maybe next time it's not the center back, but maybe it's the midfielder playing that ball because he has that space because the back line's dropped. But then when the midfielder gets it, the back line steps up, who's defending, and then the 9 goes. So like that run, even if the player doesn't get it, it can be a byproduct of all these other things that can happen on the field. So it's a good thing to have that player like Ricky to do that.
yeah. Especially when we saw it in some of the other clips. It's like, instead of the long ball, I keep hitting the mic here. Like, instead of just the long ball over the top, sometimes it is 10 or 5-10 yards shorter. The forward's not making the run in on goal, but they're checking back. The ball comes into feet, and they got tons of space. They can either turn and go diagonally wide, or they can just drop it off on like a 5-yard back pass to an advancing midfielder, and then the midfielder hits one of the wingers. It's what the one clip from the last clip that I showed of Notre Dame, it's like that, long ball forward, short ball back, long ball to the wide area, and then across. It's like, it's just teasing different concepts to keep that opponent back line on their toes on like, what are they going to give us at any given time? And it opens you up for some good third man movement. But yeah, I mean, Ricky could have had another one in the 51st. Solid. It was like golden chance. Streeter came up pretty big on that one. And I don't know. We talk about him a lot, but I just feel like some of the typical clubs out there who have kind of their profile of players that they look for, they'll be I think they'll be monitoring a guy like him.
Yeah.
So like the Orlandos, the Colorados. But yeah, and then Emil Seedorf, no relation to Clarence Seedorf. At least I don't think. Pretty sure. He gets the insurance goal 2-0. One of those like late arriving midfielders. So Paul was on the far right. Ricky's stretching the back line, late arriving, like kind of shadow striker, maybe attacking midfielder type location for Emil. Just arrives ahead of any of the other Charlotte midfielders. It's like, that's your responsibility. You have to like be tracking. You can't just be looking at your defensive back line. Maybe the devil's advocate of it is like, maybe the right center back could check to see who's advancing because he's not marking anybody.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, open look for Seedorf, and makes no mistake. And yeah. And it's not like Charlotte didn't have some chances either, so
solid game though. Solid result for Georgia Southern, first game of the season away from home.
Yeah. I need to go run and get my charger. This is the first time this has happened over the course of our podcast. But Marshall, George Mason, you saw it.
No, yeah, I watched it.
I'm gonna run.
I'll take your time. I'll be able to solo podcast now.
Yeah, there's some of my friends that do solo podcasts all the time. So
no, yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
I believe in you. So
yeah,
I'll be like right back before we get into like Michigan State and Virginia Tech and all that.
Oh yeah, so Marshall played George Mason. Marshall. Oh, you can't see my face. Well, you can listen to me.
Sorry, Dylan. I'm trying to.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to give you the full screen here.
You can keep it.
I'll just go off video.
Yeah. So Marshall won 2-1 against George Mason, but I was extremely impressed with George Mason. It was a chess match, to be honest. I think George Mason gave Marshall a taste of their own medicine in the way Marshall usually dominates the ball and plays up back throughs and third man runs. George Mason did that to Marshall a couple times. And of course, Marshall still had moments of the game where they dominated the ball and created a lot of chances, but George Mason did the same to them. The goals came from George Mason's own mistakes. So the first goal was George Mason was trying to play out the back, center back stepped up the ball, lost it. Then from there, it was kind of just a breakaway. Then a corner kick was the second goal. So, like 2 goals that they definitely want to get back. But then again, the way they played is high risk, high reward. So the back line would hold on to the ball, wait for Marshall to step. Then from there, play up back throughs. The double pivot from George Mason impressed me a lot. Spanish midfielders Javier Montava and Sergio Gonzalez Fernandez. They did really well playing through Marshall's press once they baited them for up back throughs combination play. And that's the first time I've seen someone play through Marshall the way they did. With that being said, it's the first game of the season, and Marshall had a lot of new faces. So the press at time wasn't always consistent, but that's expected with any team. And Marshall looked good as well. A lot of new faces and rotations and a lot of players that don't really have a resume on the roster. And like when you look them up, but they had a lot of, foreign talent on their field, a couple JUCO transfers who didn't put really a foot wrong and they looked good and they looked like that they fit the Marshall mold. But it was 2-1, but I would think George Mason's happy with the result and the way they played. But they would definitely look back and be like, we could have gotten a tie or even a win. Yeah. Marshall, for them, it's just clockwork in regards to like, okay, they got the win. Time to go back to the film room and clean up on some stuff. But George Mason is definitely a team to look out for because I didn't expect much. I knew they were very good last year, good ranking, good coach, good resume, good recruiting. But to see them play the way they did, to see the way they played, I was impressed.
Yeah, and like 6-1-1 in conference last year. So, that's like part of why you want to, I guess, schedule some of these perennial powers early is, if you think you got the stuff, you'll learn some good stuff along the way and be able to take that in. And obviously, like, based on your review, sounds like they definitely got their mission accomplished in terms of finding some good things to take into their next game.
Yeah, overall was a solid game. And like, of course, Marshall still had very good moments playing the way they usually play. But I was just more impressed with the George Mason book because they didn't expect them to be that good.
Yeah, that might be a tricky game for Virginia because that's who they play next.
No, I think it'll be a good one for sure.
And they're at home. Yeah. So George Mason fans, get out there. Give the boys some backing. Shifting off to the Big Ten. Michigan State hosted UC Riverside. And I don't think anyone was too surprised in terms of the 0 on Michigan State holding the clean sheet.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that will be surprising is they'll go into week 2 with a new leading scorer.
Yeah.
And that's that's UC Riverside, who unfortunately conceded 2 own goals.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's just, it happens, but you don't often see it happen twice in a row. So yeah, unlucky, but yeah, I think the Spartan attack, they'll want to get up to speed in the next game to try to overtake the current goal leader on the team.
Yeah.
What wasn't really that surprising, maybe to some, but with the amount of players that are in the caliber of players and the type of work rate those players had for Ohio State that departed the team. I think when me and you were looking at the roster, it was like didn't really know what to make of it, and obviously we still don't because it was only a 1-0 loss to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a result that like I'm like, oh my god, Ohio State lost. I mean, the turnover on some of these teams is just so great that you don't really know on week one what you're going to have. And obviously, they're definitely a smart group and they have talent. It's just, no one's pushing the panic button on the Buckeyes yet, but it's just like
it's new faces, new like they've lost a good spine within their team. So it's away from home against a good Virginia Tech team, and it's like it's only 1-0-2, and I watched the first half. It was back and forth, nothing too crazy or like to note upon, but I mean, it's so tough to reload and come out swinging like they did last year and like the run that they made. And everyone's gonna have a high expectation, but they have to be realistic too of like they can still be that good. It might take more time though, and it might not be them being top 5 throughout the whole season.
Yeah, because again, like not only like if any team loses the Mac Herman winner, that's one thing. But it's like Siggy Magnuson, David Arona, David Ajagby, believe
like right there.
Grinstead. Like a lot of these guys were foundational workhorses and they played with such like ambition and intensity that they were one of the best like goal producing teams out there.
Yeah.
And when a lot of that, the talent up front leaves and then the work rate, like obviously they still got our boy Luciano Picota.
Yeah.
And we'll never not have anything bad to say about him. Or at least I won't, because I'd like his style of play, but it's just like, I think they'll
be good, but it'll be
And once Big Ten starts, I think the respect is back on that conference after last year with seeing how many teams went into the tournament. So there's still time. A lot of these non-conference games, I feel like you're still trying to figure it out in a way.
Yeah.
And the conference games are the ones that really matter. And because like again, we've seen it the other way. Like, Wisconsin started off red hot.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like plateaued throughout the season. So yeah. I think we're into the final stages here.
Yeah, the rundown now.
Yeah. So I put this together real quick. This just shows you, everybody out there, we covered a lot of games already, but I mean, there are a couple games in here that we talked about, but number one team, Vermont.
That was a close one too, though. Like the Vermont, it was like a 2-0 win, but like in the 85th minute, Hersey had a crazy save to make it 1-0, to keep it at 1-0. And then Vermont went down to score 2-0, but that easily could have ended up in a tie. I mean, FAU beating Creighton was surprising from my perspective. Like, I didn't expect that, to be fair.
Mamadou Diarra.
Yeah. Bags, man. UC Irvine, big win against UCLA. Grand Canyon had like
that one was surprising to me because I had high, and I still have high hopes for the UCLA offense with Solans and Roche and Bansu. Like that, again, like all those three alone, they're brand new to UCLA. So I don't really know much about like UC Irvine, but again, it's early.
UConn, big one against Syracuse.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's another one where there was a lot of turnover. It's like the same story for a lot of these games. But yeah, number 4, Denver beat Washington, and Seattle also dropped 4-1 against Missouri State. I don't know if it was just like, obviously it was a long summer for a lot of the Pacific Northwest guys. Not sure how much that plays into it, but yeah, I mean, in typical Pitt fashion,
1-0
saw a
win.
little 1-0. Oh, yeah. See, there's a mistake already. Pitt actually played Quinnipiac.
Who would have seen
So
people were focusing?
some little copy and paste. Maybe it's in there as a teaser to wake up the chat. If you found a mistake, maybe we'll send you a gift bag or something.
Jersey, a college jersey.
But yeah, nothing flashy from Pitt, but they're known for being really solid,
Yeah.
really methodical. The one thing to note from our buddy Evan, he was like, I just feel like the build up is better when they have the 3 center backs. So it was Gilman, Sorensen, and Wetzel. And Wetzel, I believe, got an assist on his debut.
Yeah.
So all the Philadelphia Union fans out there will be happy to see that. Boston College followed suit with a 1-0 win over Binghamton. Ranked Dayton draw level against Detroit Mercy. Stanford slam Sacramento State 5-1. Trevor Islam, I believe, had 2 goals. Akron handled business against VCU 3-0. I believe the first goal was a PK. And they just went rolling from there.
Yeah.
Louisville spread it around, 6 different goal scorers in a 6-0 win. We talked about Florida Atlantic, UConn. Shout out to my guys up in Western New York, Canisius and Niagara, both with wins against VMI and St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies. I do have a Fairfield goal that I want to show. I believe it's the winner against, or maybe the opener against Army. We'll find out soon. Coastal Carolina had a 3-0 win to open the season, and it was great to see Christian Cook back on the score sheet. Not this past summer, the summer before for Charlotte Independence. I thought he looked phenomenal. And then the couple of games that I went to in person. Talk about wheels. We've mentioned wheels throughout the episode, but that guy can fly. But then also the new man from Sevilla FC, or Angel Lopez Martin,
Got an assist.
came off the bench, scored, got an assist. Didn't watch the game, but yeah, I'm excited to tune in when they play a Sunbelt opponent. Northwestern 2-0, I believe, right? If I can even find them on this graphic. Yep,
Yeah.
Eastern Illinois up at the top. Covered UMass Lowell. Bennett Painter scored in the Bowling Green game. Another draw with Rhode Island and Iona. Edward Moustre, 2 goals for FIU over Omaha. And my brother sent this earlier. Don't know if I missed it, but his Wilmington tough loss for his Seahawks. because he works
Yeah,
down
tough
there.
one.
That's his employer down there. He is all about Wilmington nowadays. So you got a fan. Davidson, our boys, Alonzo Clark. Goal for them.
Big time goal off the cross.
North Florida, technically an upset, even though I thought I'd have to look back. I could have sworn they played or they had a good year last year, but 1-0 result over Wisconsin. So, especially traveling all the way up there.
And we did a team of the match week 1, but we try to do it off the games that we saw most, just out of respect, because we didn't want to just put random people without seeing them, you know.
Yeah, because there were a few players out there that had some killer days, but we kind of factor in maybe like the importance of the game, the performance, obviously. Mixed in some guys that actually had the goals, like braces, hat tricks. And yeah, just like key moments that were pivotal to the match that we saw. So our team of the match week, wish I had a soundboard, but no surprise, Pablo Pazos, left wing hat trick. Daniel Lugo, again, lifts high point with his brace. Nathan Richmond, first competitive game back after quite a stint away, just looked really, really good. We put in your boy Nikolai. I know you were impressed with his debut
Nikolai
for the Tar Heels.
Ferguson,
Waterloo, 2 goals. Grabfelder, 2 goals. And a lot of that too, even though, I mean, Stenson's not like technically a pushover by any means, but, on the topic of important games, coming out of last season for Penn State, they really needed to start this season off strong. And, in the manner in which he scored the first goal, we put him in there. Obviously, same thing with Oliveira for Florida Gulf Coast. And Mitch Ferguson's, that battle was tough because, again, like, there's so many good center backs on that field, but the goal line clearance, the couple minutes later, just protecting that result against a tough team, put him at the top. Clean sheet for Holmstrom and crew. Great ball forward to get the winner. And yeah, I thought that, like, I was trying to watch a little bit more of it today, but the Rutgers versus Providence game, 1-0 for Rutgers. And that was a game where on paper it felt pretty evenly matched going into it. So with a freshman, Jack Andrews from the Philadelphia Union Academy, played all 90 minutes, helped with the clean sheet, had to go up against Bruno Rosa for most of it. Again, another freshman who didn't look out of place. So we put him in there, a little bit maybe the nod over Gavin Wetzel, who could have also been in there. But the priority went to
formation-wise.
And also playing against Providence versus Quinnipiac. So, yeah. And then obviously what you've said about Herseg in the beginning, kind of keeping that game where they needed it to be and starting off the season strong. Because everybody wants to knock off the number 1 team, so I'm sure they got the best effort out of Sacred Heart.
Oh, yeah. I think solid team. On top of the stats, I think they were a big impact, like even without the stats, like how they carried themselves and how they affected the game. So it was nice.
Yeah, So congrats to the guys that made it. I mean, again, could have probably made like a first, second, and third team out of, all of these games and then all the ones that we talked about. So, yeah, luckily there are plenty of games and we'll be making plenty of match week teams. So, well, we're going to give some glory here to the Fairfield, if you love free kicks. Just because this was, I can't just like let it sit there. But Alex Vaz from range.
Solid.
Yeah. Give him
What a
some
way to
love
end it
there.
off.
Oh, and you know what I didn't do?
What?
What is this? Like, if it feels kind of like an encore. Why in the heck are all the people out there like, but what about Duke versus San Diego?
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry. We got the goals for those two. Again, 2 freshmen. Max Simpson opens the scoring for the Blue Devils. What a ball by Bjornsson, known for his scoring, but also he can provide as well. Drew Kerr slides the ball here. And then nice little Maradona. Sneaky ball, but they would have liked the clean sheet with only 2.5 minutes to go. But
Yeah.
The win against a ranked team like that, they'll definitely take it. And again, Duke's a team that we'll be watching more closely throughout the year, especially during ACC competition. So yeah, that was just kind of again, especially that 7:00 time slot, man, overwhelming.
It's just too much. It's like 4 or 5 games, and it's just tough.
Yeah, especially if you want to actually focus.
Yeah.
Let's look back here real quick. I don't have a list. Maybe I can share the screen for the next 2 minutes. Maybe we can look at the matches ahead.
There's some good ones tomorrow.
Yeah, especially Tuesday. Oh yeah, Sunday, I guess too. Here, I'll send this off with a quick little look here. Where is it? All right. So quick turnaround Sunday. Denver, Stanford. That'll be a big one. Wake. They won't really have tired legs. They only played 45 minutes, so they'll look to. And talk about a team that loves looking at film. I think they'll be primed for that. SMU, St. Louis, another good one. Get to see your boy Chevy O'Neal.
Yeah.
After that UConn result, UConn versus Massachusetts looked pretty good. Furman will look to add to the woes of San Diego. 2 teams that would have loved to win in their opener, Dayton and Western Michigan. That'll be a hot one.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I expect goals in that. NC State play your former Wofford. Keeps going down here.
Other than that, nothing too major to look at.
Syracuse, they'll be, if they aren't fired up to start getting some goals.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Cooler might need to be thrown over. Northwestern plays my Air Force. Air Force lost in their opener against UIC. Virginia Tech Canisius might be a little bit of an interesting one. Got to talk about a lot of games. Yeah, Penn State, they'll be hoping to start off 2-0. I think that's another game that it's a respectable opponent, but if they can beat Stetson and then Army, they'll feel good with the process or progress. Washington, Oregon State. Now that's a big one. Bounce back game for Washington. Hopefully, Oregon State won their opener. Gardner Webb, James Madison. And yeah, we'll see if Seattle can bounce back a little bit too against a very tough opponent. Another regional game here in Rutgers, Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Cal and UCLA.
That'll be
Now, that's a nightcap that can be a big one because, again, I mean, I'm not in the locker room at UCLA, but they're probably pretty pissed off about their opener. Sure. So Cal might have to be on high alert. And then I definitely want to see, I'll be checking in. I don't know if I'll watch it, but Notre Dame versus Indianapolis. Just because I feel like there's more goals in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Special style of play. Butler, Bowling Green, pretty decent. But yeah, good little slate there.
Yeah, game slate right there.
Yeah, and then Tuesday is a big one. I mean, this is what I guess this is for me and you, but yeah, for all of our loyal fans, we're going to try to figure out how to best do a schedule because as you can see, every single day of a match week or now that the season started, it's like every day there's like 10 games plus. So we'll be figuring out a schedule behind the scenes to try to keep doing this, kind of recapping some stuff. But yeah, other than that, any final remarks there, Dylan?
No, a really good first game week. A lot of interesting results and good performances. So it'll be cool to see how the teams get on tomorrow than on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think some of the themes, just to recap, like stuff that, we saw that was successful is, teams that they're able to break the lines quickly and cleanly. And one of the other things that I noticed, kind of a general like soccer thing if you watch it a lot, but like sometimes some of the teams that weren't as cohesive or continuous in how they pass, it's like for me it looks like the teams that are more efficient at it, their spacing is just better.
Yeah.
In possession, they're more expanded. The windows of passing are cleaner and more open, and they're able to move the ball with more like style and in confidence.
Yeah.
And, when they're out of possession, that's when they can start getting more compact and close the lanes.
Yeah.
So something that some of these coaches might be looking at in terms of their own team, if they were hurting to string together good passages of play, they might start looking at the type of spacing they have in possession. But yeah,
solid episode.
But all right, everybody. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you.
And yeah, if you're not plugged in, last thing, Dylan, we haven't said this because we're not these other these podcast people out there, but like, oh, you gotta hit the subscribe button,
like, comment, subscribe,
and and follow us on Twitter at CS Matchday. Follow us on Instagram.
You should do that.
Like a match day, all that stuff.
That's where you post everything. So.
Yeah. Especially Twitter. We try our best. Again, just two busy guys who love college soccer.
It's two chill guys. Till next time.
All right. See you, everybody.